Daytime update this afternoon, hearing from our courts in a nutshell that the Public Protector did not conduct investigations with an open mind to such an extent that she invoked the wrong laws in one case and relied completely on wrong wording of the Executive Ethics Code. Quite scathing indeed, and a great concern. But we got reaction now from the Presidency. For more, we are joined by our editorial contributor, Karyn Maughan. Karyn, you've got the spokesperson of the President there with you.
Thank you so much. I'm joined now by Khusela Diko, of course, is the spokesperson for the Presidency. I mean, I've never seen such a resounding judgment against the Public Protector. Unfortunately, he's had a series of very scathing judgments against her. What is the Presidency's response to this?
Well, thank you very much, Karyn. The Presidency welcomes the judgment that was delivered by the Gauteng Division of the High Court today. We believe that it asserts a number of assertions that the President has made. The first one is that the President did not act in any manner that would have misled Parliament or the nation by necessary implication. Secondly, that his conduct was in line with that would be expected of somebody who seeks to be honest, transparent and accountable. And then finally, that there was absolutely no basis in law for any finding that would have said that the President participated in any unlawful activity or money laundering. So on that basis, we welcome this judgment. We believe that it should bring this matter to finality. And Karyn, we do believe that the courts are there for a reason, and that reason is to settle disputes. In this particular instance, the courts have done exactly that.
The findings made against President Cyril Ramaphosa by Advocate Mkhwebane, I would say, were the most damaging, essentially ever made against a president by a public protector, including, as you rightly mentioned, that somehow his CR17 campaign was implicated in money laundering. We saw disclosure of his donors. It became a real source of profound political ammunition against his leadership at a time where he was really trying to, cultivate this ethos of trying to turn the tide on corruption, etc. Looking at that level of damage, is this something that can be rectified with this ruling, do you believe?
Well, we do believe that South Africans are concerned with very, very pressing challenges. Amongst those is inclusive growth, is growing the economy. And I think that what they want us to do right now is to get the President to focus on those particular challenges. The report of the Public Protector was declared unlawful. It was set aside. And obviously that gives credence to the assertion that we've constantly made that there was absolutely no basis for those findings that she made. But I think it's also unfortunate that the court would have had to decide on the fact that she would have encroached the scope of her investigations or jurisdiction that she has in that regard, and the fact that the CR17 campaign did not benefit the President personally in any way. So these are assertions that we've made. The President has broken no laws, as we have constantly said, and indeed he has not violated the Executive Ethics Code. So I think that given this particular background, South Africans just want to see us continue with the job and ensure that we deal with the challenges that face them in their daily lives.
We know this is about the fourth or fifth very adverse judgment against the Public Protector. She's in court next week, supposedly in the Western Cape High Court, to bring an urgent application to halt the potential inquiry into her fitness to hold office pending a substantive challenge to the rules of that inquiry. The President was cited as a respondent, and he came forward and he said because of this litigation, he did admit that he was conflicted and would, if there was a basis for suspending the Public Protector pending the finalization of the inquiry, would ask potentially another member of Cabinet to do that. Has that situation changed now that he's had this finding made in his favor?
Well, I think that the decision that had been taken by the President in that regard is that we would abide by the decision of the court in that regard. We have not changed the position. Obviously, the President will also spend some time studying this particular judgment and drawing out any lessons that are to be learned from it. If there is any reason to seek to change his position on that matter, we would do so. But at this point in time, we are happy to continue abiding by whatever the court decides. And I think it's important to make the point, Karyn, that this particular court case was not looking at the Public Protector's fitness to hold office, and we do not believe that it would be used to indicate that that is a view that the President holds. That matter is before Parliament. It will be handled by Parliament, and they will be best placed to make a determination in that regard.
In that application, is it not unfortunate for the democratic state that the Public Protector has very much averred that the attempts to have her removed from office are engendered or driven by, her desire to hold the executive to account, and she specifically referenced this case. I know it might be a potentially difficult question to ask you, but there is a very profoundly political landscape to this matter that unfortunately has repercussions beyond the legal one.
Well, indeed, and we find it unfortunate that she says that. And if you listened to the judgment as it was being delivered this morning, one of the issues or words that they would have used to describe the Public Protector's conduct in this matter is that it's unfathomable. And we really think that some of the issues that she raises, even in that particular instance, are just as unfortunate. The President, and I'm sure the executive as a whole, has absolutely no intention to drive a witch hunt against the Public Protector or the Office of the Public Protector. We hold that office in particularly high regard. We believe that as an institution that's established to strengthen and support our democracy, it should always be protected. You'll remember that the issues around the removal of the Public Protector were raised by the opposition, and I think following a series of incidences, which I'm sure this would become one of them, where they were saying that there must be this motion or the investigation into a fitness to hold office. So I think let's allow that process to unfold. I know that, for example, the governing party has not taken a view on the matter, and I think when it comes before Parliament, it will be properly ventilated.
Finally, Khusela, we have a situation where the Public Protector has made a number of very serious allegations against the National Director of Public Prosecutions, against the Speaker of Parliament, accusing them of taking sides in her dispute with President Ramaphosa. She is facing, a potential judgment by, in relation to SARS Commissioner Edward Kisvetter's case against her. And we also have these adverse rulings that were made in the Reserve Bank and Estina matter. Do you, from the Presidency side, is there acknowledgement that there is a crisis in terms of the legitimacy or potential legitimacy of her office, or do you believe that she can still continue in her role with all this kind of stuff swirling around her?
Well, Karyn, I want to refer to the answer that I had given previously, that her competence to hold office was not decided in court today, and on the basis of that, there is a process to deal with that matter. It is obviously concerning, but I think there are institutions and structures that are dealing with issues relating specifically to this particular Public Protector. But the office of the Public Protector, we believe, is an important one. It's critical to support our democracy, and therefore that office we continue to hold in very high regard.
Are you satisfied that you got a punitive cost order, sort of judicial rebuke in terms of her conduct in this litigation?
The Presidency welcomes the finding in the judgment in full.
Khusela Diko from the Presidency, of course, being very careful in her words in response to that ruling. This is a legally fraught matter. It will be in court next week. Of course, the Public Protector bringing that legal challenge to the process that may lead to her face an inquiry into her fitness to hold office, but really emphasizing that the President has no need or want to conduct some form of witch hunt against the Public Protector in response to her averments that not only Ramaphosa, but that the NDPP, Shamila Batoy, and also Speaker of Parliament in the National Assembly, Thandi Modise, were essentially taking sides in this matter.